Hey everybody, Kimberly here with Tribes of the Wind. Now this is a game that I have been waiting to play for just about a year. I heard about it last fall and I was really excited about playing this game, so getting my hands on it and playing through this has just been a real treat. Firstly, a treat for the eyes because yes, this is illustrated by my favorite game artist, Vincent Dutrait, so I love seeing this. It's just really, really pretty. I just love the artwork here, so it's something to look at. But there's also a fantastically wonderful mechanic that makes this game really work. As you can see, I've got these cards set up and there are these card display trays for 5 cards, and everybody at the table is going to have their cards where they can see the front and everybody else can see the back. And that's super important because everything on the front has a requirement that either you or your neighbors or both of your neighbors need to have or not have. And so those requirements are going to give you resources and opportunities to clear the pollution from your area because you are flying around this in cities of the tribe. You've got these wind walkers or these wind riders, and they are flying around attempting to clear the area of pollution, which is what these tokens are right here. And when you clear pollution, you're able to build these buildings and these structures and these forests so that you can accomplish a variety of tasks. So it looks like I've got an extra wind walker rider already. I'm supposed to have 7 in the beginning, and I put 3 on my start tile because that's what it says. I also take 4 water. So you've got a couple resources here. You've got pollution and you've got water. The goal of the game, though, the trigger to the end of the game, is to build these green structures, these villages. And if you do build your 5th one, as you can see here, you start with 5, you're going to trigger the end of the game. And they're also going to give you victory points. And if you are the first to do that, you're going to get those 5 bonus points for really racing to the end. And so there is a little bit of a race feature here. I'll tell you how you build those particular villages. But along the way, what you're doing on your turn, here's your simple basic turn. You'll look at your cards and you will either play a card, you will build one of those villages, or you're going to build a temple. Those are the 3 choices you have available to you, and most often, as you can see, you only have 4 of these temples. You have 5 villages which have a requirement for you to accomplish before you can actually build one. You're going to be doing cards. Cards is essentially where the game is at. So I'm going to look at these cards and I'm going to try to accomplish one of these things. So let me just show you the makeup. This is a yellow card, and if you see a line, you're going to pick one or the other, and generally this is easier with fewer resources given to you, a little bit harder and more resources, and a little bit more flexibility. So if I have 2 yellows in my area, in my card display, including the card I play, which is this yellow right here, I'm going to get this. If I have 3, I'm going to get this. Well, guess what, folks? I have 1, so I'm not going to play that card. If I have the fewest yellows, which actually is true, if you look out, my opponents each have 2 yellows. So if I have fewer than 1 person or fewer than both people, I'm going to receive these bonuses. So I'm going to play this card on my turn. Just going to play it. And I have fewer than both of my neighbors. Now, I'm playing a 3-player game, but this means also in a 5-player game, it's simply the people to your left and to your right. So I'm going to take off 2 pollution, and I'm going to be able to mobilize or move 3 of my wind riders. So I'm just going to play that card right here in the discard pile and do exactly that. I'm going to take off this pollution, and I'm going to take off this pollution. Now, there is a possibility that pollution can come back if you build a building that adds pollution. Something like this building right here adds pollution to each space adjacent to it if it doesn't have a building next to it. If I clear, I'm able to build in those spaces. Right now, these are all unbuildable, and pollution is all negative points at the end of the game. So you want to clear pollution, period, but you also want to build in those spaces. And now I'm going to mobilize 3 of these figures. I can move these figures onto further buildings, or I can put more onto this tile. And this tile is my start tile, but there's also, actually it's the one I just showed you. This symbol right here means that if it's built, I can actually bring people, they can spawn here at this space. And so that's really, really cool. So I don't have to bring them and then move them space by space by space. But right now, beginning of the game, I'm going to put 3, and now I've got just a bunch of those wind riders ready to go out and build villages, because that's how you get these guys built. Now I'm going to look at the possible draw cards, and I don't know what's underneath them, but I know what color they are. And right now I want to have fewer water than my opponents, which I have of that person, so I probably don't want to draw the blue card. I do want to have at least 2 yellow, and I can mobilize some more of those wind riders. I need to build though, and I think to build I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have everything I need to build this one. So I think I'm going to take a yellow. And ooh, that's fun. If I have 2 blues, this card says if I have 2 blues, then I can build for 7 water, and I can move three folks, which is actually good. This card comes out and goes right there. So that's the game where you're essentially looking and evaluating other players' card amounts based on what your requirement is for your card, and you've got 5 to work with, so you're constantly working towards gaining cards of a certain type or losing cards so that you can do really basic actions. And 3 of the basic actions we saw so far, which is mobilize your wind riders, remove pollution, gain water, because water is required to build these tiles. So I'm going to play this card. Let's say all my opponents go, and it's my turn again. I'm going to play this card that says, do I have a yellow, a red, a blue, and a green? Yes, including the card I'm playing. I've got all of those represented in my play area. I can either build a building or a forest for 4 water, which I do have, or gain 5 water. Well, I want to build because I need to get something going, and I have some opportunities so that I can move out all these wind riders and then build up those villages. So I have all of them. I pay my 4 water. And now I'm going to look at these out here, and I'm going to say, which one of these do I think I can do? And I think I might actually pick this guy. It takes the most, but because it's so close to home, it won't take that long for me to fill up a little yellow wind rider in every single space. And it gives me 3 bonus opportunities. This is the best, biggest, most expensive tile, but I'm going to place it, let's say right here. I'm going to put it next to that spot. You can place your tiles anywhere you want, but it's easy for me to mobilize going this direction because they're right next to that space. Now I can't place on top of that, but I could have gone down here, for example, because it's clear of pollution. So I paid mine. I'm out of water. Whoopsie, I'm going to have to get some more water. But hopefully I'll be able to swing over there and do some really, really cool stuff. So that's in place for me to send my riders to. I'm going to draw yet another card. If I draw another yellow, I can do this guy, and I can make a combination of movement and water. So I think I'm going to do it because I'm going for that yellow. So I'm going to take this guy, and it looks like I got plus yellow from my neighbor or neighbors. Gives me really cool movement with wind riders. And again, that's what I want to do. I want to do that. That's a big goal. Now, I'm going to replace this guy right here. Now, I told you there were a couple other actions that you can do on your turn. One of them is placing out a temple. You can always place out a temple. But when you place out a temple, that temple is essentially gone and placed, and you can't move it afterwards. You take whichever one you want, and every single player's board, all 5 of the player boards are unique. They are asymmetrical, so they give different bonuses that are in water, wind riders, pollution, and building. Now, all you need to do is take a temple and place it out on a tile that doesn't have a temple on it already. Now, had I played this tile here, Let's just say I did, since that was free and I just played it and I said, I don't know where I want to place it. I just want it to be adjacent to my Wind Riders. Let's say I placed it here because I want to show you my goal. This is a card that I got at the beginning of the game. Everybody's going to get one of these. And it's going to have some kind of requirement that you have, and mine is actually temple-based. So I can get 10 points at the end of the game if I put temples in those two spaces. So I am going to kind of retroactively place my building here from my last turn, and I'm going to take one of these tiles and I'm going to one of these little temple figures and place it on my tile. Now I can't place it in empty spaces or on a space that already has a temple, but I'm going to take this one. Let's say I'm going to mobilize. I'm going to place it there on the corner. Now this doesn't have to be turned over or finished yet, and it's going to allow me to move 3 of my Wind Riders. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and I am just about full up here with the requirement needed to turn the tile over and give me the opportunity to build one of these villages on it, which is huge. That's really big. Again, that's kind of where the game is at. But now that's gone, that bonus is gone, that temple stays out there forever. But it's good because that's the space on my board that I want that temple to be in. Now, the one thing to keep in mind is that building those villages, not free. They do cost discarding cards, and I like taking this action whenever I have cards that I can't fulfill or I need a particular combination of card colors. And when you do it, you also are going to get a really, really fantastic bonus. So it's not the worst thing. And when you get out your temples, there also is this endgame scoring for putting out more temples gives you more victory points. So there's so many incentives to do that, but it's always hard to find that right moment to do the temple action unless you're just in dire straits, which means that it's kind of like your obvious temple move. So I am going to discard these 3 cards, the blue and the red, because I don't have the blue, and I think this one, yellow, even though I want it as a yellow card, I also don't necessarily have 2 blues in my hand. But I will be able to replenish with one of these yellows. Now, if you take them from any showing card, even the top of the deck, you can't look at it until you've drawn all your cards. So I know I want a yellow. I think I'll take a red and probably just a blue. We'll see. I'm going to do a little bit of a variety here. Well, I guess I probably should have taken 2 reds for that card. It needs 2 reds. But that's okay. So I'm going to replace these guys. We're going to put them out. And now it's going to come back to me. Let's say it's my turn again. I'm going to do that movement with my card. I'm going to take this card and I'm going to move my Wind Riders. I have 3 yellows in my hand, counting the card that I have here, so I get 6, a combination of 6, water and movement. I'm going to move 1 here. I think this guy was up here because I want to move him down. And so I'm going to move him down into that player area. I think he just got bumped or something. So that's 2 movement, and I'm going to take 4 of these waters. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fantastic. So that was my total 6, and at this point I've got to draw back up to my card. I want 2 blues, so I'm going to take, oh no, I wanted 2 reds. Ooh, 2 blues gives me water. That's actually really good. I'm going to take 2 blues. All right, that was a good card. Next is my turn again. Everyone else is gone, perhaps, right? You know, like it's again, you're going to be changing the cards out here. I'm going to change my cards, and everyone's going to be taking actions, looking at everyone's cards that just are continuously in flux. But I'm going to build this guy. I'm going to build that village because when you've got a tile that has fully completed with the amount of Wind Riders necessary, you are going to take those off and send them back home to your starting area. You're going to turn this over and you are going to look at your bonuses. So here's what the bonuses do for me. I got all 3 bonuses. All right, so I'm just going to pop this little cheat sheet up right here on the screen. So mine had all 3. These are the 3 different bonuses. So the first one says if the tile features a wind turbine, don't place any pollution tokens when placing this village. So what you normally do is you would be placing pollution next to all the empty spaces. So I would have placed 2 out there, but I don't. So that's really good for me. The second thing is it features a catapult. When you build the tile, you can the village, you can move any wind rider from your board to any other tile. So I am simply going to take this guy and I'm going to move him, actually I'm going to take it from here and I'm going to move him over here to this space because it furthers the guy. Maybe I'm going to build a building here and they'll be right adjacent to it. That's going to be nice. And then this one is a wind portal. It has no effect, but it's adjacent to the capital and other wind portals. And so they can move between wind portals and from the capital city. And it just is one move. So it's a really, really nice opportunity to mobilize. So that's what those super, super cool things are. And then the other thing you get to do when you build a village, you're going to take this guy and you're going to put him right there. It's going to be in that little dotted space. It's okay that I already have a temple there, but I built my village. I'm 1 out of my 5 getting close to ending the game or triggering the end of the game. But what I also get to do is take one of these cards over here. Now these cards are your village cards and you can do one of two things. You can take it for what it says right here and go for end goals. You've got 4 spaces on the side of your board to slide it under and potentially score. Or you can gain the bonus immediately and just trash the card. And so if you really are in a pinch and you need something, this is going to help you get resources, take away pollution, and then some. Or you are going to grab a card for what it says inside of the card. So I think I'm going to take this card as a end game score. I need 4 of my villages, which I have 5 of, on tiles that have that little wind turbine. And I already have one right there, so I think I'm ready to go. I'm going to slide that under there, and I'm going to turn this card over. Every player is going to get these super cool specialty cards that if they accomplish their 2 goals right here by making a serpentine orthogonal chain of this particular color, they're going to get one of their 4 cards to put here. And if they get their other goal, which for me is going to be 3 of these goal cards, they're going to get another one of their cards. And they just do really cool things like make your buying power a little bit more, a little bit cheaper. You can trade water for moving your figures. Here, when you play down a tile, you can do a catapult action. And then here, playing down green cards allows you to remove pollution and get water. So there's some really, really cool opportunities with these specialty cards. Tribes of the Wind is a 1 to 5 player game that takes about 20 minutes per player, and I'd say that's pretty on point. And once you're familiarized with the game, I think it goes just a little bit faster, especially if you're trying out one of the new asymmetrical characters. You're familiar with the iconography and with the basic game mechanics and turn actions in order. Figuring out a new character isn't going to be too challenging, and it might even be really exciting because there are differences in their specialty cards, in their requirements, and in their temple bonuses. They're all different. They're totally unique. Also, when you start the game, you get a start tile that gives you different resources to start the game, and I find that really fascinating too. And then, of course, with the card combinations, it's just really clever how your card is going to ask you to have something individually or to have something based on what the player to your right or player to your left or both have in front of them. And there's nothing better than playing this game, which happens every time, and just hearing so many groans. Oh, why don't you two ever get any blues? Why do you always have so many yellows? And all of those lovely complaints whenever you really need something and it's just not working out. But I love the card draw with knowing what the color is, but not necessarily what the power or the ability is. I love having those objectives that you put on the side and you're really going for certain things and certain configurations as you clear the pollution from your personal player board and you build out those buildings and forests with your villages and with your temples. It's just really satisfying, and I think it's gorgeous to look at, easy to teach, and I just really enjoy it. It is a race, and I like that. I like the race feature. I think there's just enough choice, and I love how every player has just slightly different everythings. It actually is really cool because not everybody's boards are configured the same. All your goals are just slightly different. It's just really smart. I like it. So I think this was a delightful game. It is a 1 hour to an hour and a half, depending on how many players you have, game that you should absolutely check out if any of these mechanics or components and even the artwork by Vincent Dutrait interest you, because this is everything I was wanting it to be and then some. It really surprised me, and I'm just delighted to actually have it in my hands and to share it with you. All right, everybody, I'll see you next time.